Today, let's get into a great story of scientific detective work. It's about this incredibly powerful AI technique that was hiding in plain sight, often not living up to its potential until a group of researchers found the one hidden key that unlocked everything.
So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with a really common problem in AI, take a look at the go-to solution and its flaws, and then introduce a much more powerful alternative. And finally, we'll get to the big reveal, the breakthrough that made it all just click.
All right, first things first, we have to talk about a fundamental challenge, a huge roadblock that can stop even the most powerful, most complex AI models from learning anything at all. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, right? You can spend all this time building a massive, super deep neural network with hundreds and hundreds of layers, but if you're not careful, it just won't learn. It becomes totally untrainable. It's an incredibly frustrating problem that everyone in the field knows about.
The main culprit here is something called the vanishing or exploding gradient problem. The best way to think about this is like a giant game of telephone. When an AI is learning, a correction signal starts at the very end of the network and gets passed backward, layer by layer. But if that message just fades into a whisper or gets distorted into deafening, chaotic noise, well, the layers at the beginning of the chain get absolutely no useful instructions. And just like that, learning grinds to a complete halt.
So, how did the AI community tackle this? Well, they came up with a really clever and, for a long time, totally dominant solution. But as you'll see, that solution introduced a whole new headache of its own.
Meet ReLU, which stands for Rectified Linear Unit. Its function is just beautifully simple. If a number coming in is positive, it lets it pass right through. If the number is negative, it just turns it into a zero. That's it. This simplicity made it insanely fast, and it really helped with those vanishing gradients, which is why it was the king of activation functions for years.
But, there's always a catch. And this slide really lays out the trade-off perfectly. On one hand, ReLU is super cheap to compute. It's fast. It's efficient. But on the other hand, its aggressive habit of zeroing out all the negative values, well, that creates a pretty critical vulnerability.
And here it is, the dying neuron problem. Think about it. If a neuron in the network gets stuck in a situation where it's only ever getting negative signals, its output is always zero. That means its gradient, the learning signal, is also always zero. So it just stops. It completely stops participating in the learning process forever. It's like a light switch getting jammed in the off position, permanently breaking a tiny piece of the AI's brain.
So, to fix this whole dying neuron thing, researchers came up with a much more sophisticated alternative. It was specifically designed to be immune to this problem, but for the longest time it came with its own frustrating mystery.
And that brings us to the max-out network. Now, instead of that simple is it positive or zero question, a max-out neuron looks at a whole group of different functions and just picks the maximum value. Because it's always picking the winner from a set, its units are pretty much guaranteed to be active. It just neatly sidesteps that whole dying neuron problem.
And just look at this visualization. You can really get a sense of how powerful they can be. Max-out networks can learn to carve up data into these incredibly complex, nuanced shapes. So in theory, they should be way more expressive and way more robust than a simple ReLU network.
But here's the puzzle that just stumped everybody for a while. Even with all of these advantages on paper, when people actually used max-out networks, they often trained slower or just performed worse than the good old-fashioned ReLU networks. It just didn't add up. Why wasn't this powerful tool living up to its promise?
And this, right here, brings us to the heart of the story. It turns out the answer wasn't about building a better network. It was about figuring out how to properly start the one they already had.
So, this is the crucial insight. The problem wasn't with max-out's design at all. The problem was initialization. It was all about how the network's internal settings were configured at the very, very beginning, before it even saw a single piece of data.
The perfect way to think about this is like tuning an orchestra. If all the instruments are wildly out of tune before the concert even starts, it doesn't matter how brilliant the musicians are, right? The result is just going to be chaos. For an AI network, that starting point is absolutely everything.
So after doing some really rigorous math, the researchers finally found the recipe. They figured out the exact starting values the network needed to keep those learning signals perfectly stable. In this table, this shows the magic numbers. For example, for a max-out network with 5 functions, the key setting was this C-value of 0.555, which is a world away from the value of 2 that work for ReLU. This tiny, specific detail, that was the hidden key.
Okay, so the theory is solid, the math checks out, but does it actually work in the real world?
This is the moment of truth. Let's look at the cold, hard proof.
The test they set up was really clean. They built these super deep 21-layer networks, the exact kind that are really sensitive to these gradient problems. And they purposely left out some of the modern tricks like batch normalization so they could isolate the pure effect of the initialization. It was a straight-up showdown, a max-out network with the wrong settings, a standard ReLU network, and the new, properly tuned max-out network.
And the results were, well, they were stunning, just night and day. On this tough data set, CFAR 100, the maxed-out network with the old, incorrect initialization was a total disaster. It got only 12% accuracy. The standard ReLU network did what you'd expect, about 60%. But the max-out network with the new, correct initialization, it soared right past it, hitting over 65% accuracy.
And you don't have to take my word for it. Here's the conclusion, straight from the researchers themselves. The right initialization didn't just fix max-out. It completely unlocked its potential, finally letting it beat its old rival, ReLU, fair and square.
And if you're a visual person, this chart just says it all. It's crystal clear. You can see the disastrous performance of that untuned max-out on the left, you've got the solid baseline from ReLU in the middle, and then the clear winner on the right, the max-out network, finally tuned to absolute perfection.
And this whole thing leaves us with a really fascinating thought to chew on. This entire discovery wasn't about inventing some brand new, flashy architecture. It was about going back to a powerful idea that already existed and just taking the time to truly, deeply understand it. It really makes you wonder, what other huge breakthroughs are just sitting there, waiting to be found, hidden in the details of the tools we already use every single day?